Cooking gas soars. Petrol hits 937 naira per litre in Lagos and 975 naira per litre in Abuja as Middle East crisis takes toll. U.S. Embassy in Abuja cancels a visa appointment for March 4 over protest fears. Electricity consumers to get 20 billion naira meter cost refunds from discos. Ondo government orders crackdown on kidnappers. On a foreign scene, U.S. and Ecuador forces launch operation to fight drug trafficking. And in sport, Wolves shock Liverpool with last gasp win. Those are our top stories. Details coming up shortly. First on the news, consumers of liquefied petroleum gas LPG or cooking gas have launched and begun to feel the pinch of the rise in global oil and gas prices following the US-Israeli war on Iran, which halted energy export from the Middle East. Prices jumped on Tuesday as Tehran attacked ships and energy facilities, closing navigation in the Gulf and forcing production stoppages from Qatar to Iraq. The benchmark Brent crude oil contract settled up $3.66 or up to 4.7% at its $1.40 a barrel, its highest settlement since January 2025. European gas prices soared as much as 40% before pairing gains, adding to a 40% surge on Monday. Iraq, OPEC's second largest producer, said it may be forced to cut production in a few days by more than 3 million barrels per day if oil tankers cannot move freely to loading points, according to two Iraqi oil officials. As of Tuesday, Iraq has decreased production from the Rumaila oil field by 700,000 BPD and caught 460,000 PBD from the West Qurna to field, the officials said. Nigeria imports a significant portion of its cooking gas despite holding massive natural gas reserves. As of late 2024, reports indicated that roughly 20% to 47% of consumed LPG was imported. Although a net producer of gas, Nigeria has historically imported 50% or more of its cooking gas, with a large share coming from the US and Equatorial Guinea. While some data showed up to 80% domestic production in early 2025, the country still relies on imports to bridge the gap in supply. Because a significant portion of gas is imported and the rest is priced using international benchmark, local prices are often subject to foreign exchange fluctuations and international market rates. Local depot owners have raised the price of cooking gas by an average of 100 naira per kilogram. NIPCO PLC, one of Nigeria's largest LPG distributors, is now selling at 950 naira per kilogram. Navgas Limited is dispensing at 900 naira, while Techno Oil Limited has priced its stock at 885 naira per kilogram. The adjustment represents a sharp climb from the previous market average of around 800 naira per kilogram. Meanwhile, Nigeria's fragile fuel marketers come under renewed strain as escalating tensions in the Middle East ripple through global oil markets, driving crude prices above $80 per barrel and pushing domestic petrol prices to the brink of 1,000 naira per litre. From Lagos to Abuja, motorists wake up to sharp increases at filling stations, with pump prices adjusted almost overnight. In Lagos, several outlets raised the price of premium motor spirit PMS from 830 naira to 937 naira per litre. In the Federal Capital Territory, major retailers, including NNPC Limited and MRS Oil Nigeria PLC, increased prices from 875 naira to 975 naira per litre, while some independent marketers dispensed fuel that's 960 naira. The immediate trigger was a fresh upward review in the ex-depot price by Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals, which moved its gantry price from 774 naira to about 874 naira to 875 naira per litre. Industry sources attributed the hike to surging global crude prices and rising replacement costs. A senior refinery official confirmed that petrol loading operations were temporarily suspended earlier in the week in response to the crude spike, a decision that tightened supply expectations and accelerated price adjustment across the downstream value chain. The international oil rally is tied to intensifying hostilities involving the United States, Iran, and Israel, with global markets increasingly nervous about potential disruption around the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic maritime route that accounts for roughly one-fifth of daily global crude supply. Any sustained instability in that corridor could send oil prices soaring further, with analysts warning that $100 per barrel is within reach if tensions escalate. For Nigeria, which now operates a deregulated petrol pricing regime but remains heavily exposed to global oil benchmarks, the consequences have been swift and severe. The Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petran, described the unfolding situation as worrisome, warning that sustained geopolitical instability could unleash broader economic consequences. Similarly, United States Embassy in Nigeria has cancelled all visa appointments scheduled for Wednesday, March 4, 2026, citing a high potential for protest in Abuja amid escalating hostilities between the United States and Iran. Disclosing this in a statement via its website on Wednesday, the embassy warned of potential demonstrations in the Federal Capital Territory, calling on American citizens to remain indoors. The warning comes 4 days after U.S.-Israel airstrikes targeted and killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Several other high-ranking Iranian officials were also said to have been killed in the strikes, triggering swift retaliation from Tehran. The ripple effects of the conflict have begun to surface in parts of Nigeria. On Tuesday, members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, popularly known as the Shiites, staged a peaceful protest in Potoskum and Nguru local government area of Yobe State, condemning the killing of Ayatollah Khamenei, whom they described as a revered spiritual leader. Protesters marched through the towns carrying Iranian flags and large portraits of Khamenei, chanting slogans expressing solidarity with Iran and opposition to what they termed foreign interference. Citing concerns that similar demonstrations could occur in Abuja, the embassy advised U.S. citizens to avoid protest areas and large gatherings, remain vigilant, and maintain a low profile. The embassy further advised Americans to monitor local media for updates, keep mobile phones charged, carry proper identification, stay alert in public places such as shopping centers and places of worship, and familiarize themselves with emergency exits when entering buildings. The Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has delivered a judgment in favor of consumers ordering electricity distribution companies to refund a total of 20.33 billion naira in outstanding meter costs. The judgment, which amends the previous 2023 order, was signed by the NERC chairman Musiliu Hussaini and the Commissioner Legal Licensing and Compliance at NERC Dafi Akwemeye on February 27, 2026. According to the new order, discos are to recover and fully disburse the fund to affected customers over 12 months from March 1, 2026. Under the Meter Asset Provider Framework MAP scheme, customers pay for meters and are refunded by their discos through energy credits. However, the Commission noted that the level of refunds had been very slow over the years, necessitating a new order. NERC stated that as of December 31, 2025, Discos had failed to reimburse customers for meters procured under the MAP framework, leaving an outstanding 20.33 billion naira. The order is intended to prevent repeated delays in reimbursements, optimize customer notification, and strengthen sector credibility and confidence. Discos were also instructed that meter reimbursement credits cannot be offset against customer legacy debt. For prepaid customers, Discos must automatically generate monthly tokens representing the reimbursement, while for postpaid customers, the reimbursement must appear as a distinct credit on their bills. And on to insecurity stories, the Ondo State government has ordered security agencies to intensify operations against kidnapping syndicates operating in parts of the state following a rise in recent incidents. The order followed investigations that revealed that some of the attackers were orchestrated by local collaborators seeking to portray the state as unsafe. Disclosing this in a statement on Tuesday, the State Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Idowu Ajanaku, said criminal activities were aimed at creating panic and damaging the state's image. He warned that such acts are unacceptable and will be met with firm and lawful action. The government also warns renewed surveillance on individuals or groups involved, ensuring that those found culpable are apprehended, investigated, and prosecuted in accordance with the law. It noted that Ondo State has made significant investments to strengthen its security architecture, including the provision of utility vehicles and logistics support to agencies, the construction of Crime Control Center for the Ondo State Security Network Agency, Amotekun Corps, and the recent recruitment of 500 personnel to boost intelligence gathering and rapid response operations. The government also called on traditional rulers to remain vigilant and monitor activities within their domains, while residents were advised to promptly report suspicious movements to security agencies. Still on security matters, the General Officer commanding 8th Division, Nigerian Army, and Commander Sector 2 of Operation Fasan Yamma, Major General Bangba Paul Kugan, has operationalized the deployment of 170 forest guards in the Arewa local government area of Kebbi State as part of a renewed push to strengthen security across vulnerable communities. At a ceremony held on Tuesday at the headquarters, Kangiwa in Arewa local government area, the GOC also donated key logistics items to boost the effectiveness of the guards who will operate under the control of the Nigerian Army. This support package includes 10 brand new motorcycles, 170 sleeping kits, and essential food supplies aimed at improving mobility, welfare, and operational readiness in the fight against terrorism, banditry, and other criminal activities across Kebbi and the wider Northwest region. Major General Kugan said the intervention was designed to enhance rapid response capabilities and sustain field operations, particularly in remote, forested areas often exploited by criminal elements. Representing Governor Nasir Idris, the Kebbi State Commissioner for Home Affairs and Internal Security, Aliyu Wasabu, commended the Nigerian Army for what he described as a timely intervention and strong collaboration with the state government. He said the nation across underscores the Army's commitment to restoring peace and security, reaffirming the state government's resolve to work closely with the military and other security agencies to decisively curb criminalities. You're still on to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll go for a short break, after which our analysis will be up next. Still on to the world news at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We do sincerely apologize. We've not been able to connect with our analyst. Moving on to stories from our international scene, Ecuadorian and U.S. forces have launched operations against what it said were designated terrorist organizations in the South American country, the U.S. military's Southern Command said on Tuesday. The Southern Command said the action was aimed at tackling illicit drug trafficking but did not provide more details in a statement on X. The announcement comes the day after Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa said the U.S. was among regional allies taking part in the new phase of Ecuador's war on the drug cartels. Noboa says around 70% of the world's cocaine now flows through Ecuador's huge ports, making it a lucrative location for drug trafficking gangs. It also neighbors Colombia and Peru, the world's two largest producers of cocaine. The latest operations come 4 months after Ecuadorians dashed U.S. hopes of expanding its presence in the Eastern Pacific region by voting against allowing the return of foreign military bases in the country. The referendum result was a blow to Noboa, a close ally of U.S. President Donald Trump, who is trying to fight organized crime and reduce soaring violence. In recent years, the country has become one of the world's biggest drug trafficking hotspots. On Monday, Noboa held talks in Quito with U.S. Southern Command Chief Francis Donovan and Mark Schaffer, head of U.S. Special Operations in Central and South America and the Caribbean. And after sports news, Liverpool suffered an embarrassing 2-1 defeat at Wolves as Andre's stoppage time strike sealed a dramatic victory for the Premier League's bottom club on Tuesday. Arne Slot's side fell behind to Rodrigo Gomez's strike in the closing stages at Molineux. Mohamed Salah held Liverpool level with his first goal in 11 top-flight games dating back to November, but Andre's first goal for Wolves inflicted the latest humbling loss in a chastening season for Liverpool. It was the first time the Premier League's bottom club has beaten the reigning champions since Crystal Palace defeated Chelsea in 2017. Liverpool have conceded 14 goals in the last 15 minutes of the second half, with only Newcastle shipping more in the same period in the Premier League. The Reds remain fifth, but their hopes of qualifying for next season's Champions League have been hurt by a defeat that means sixth-placed Chelsea will go above them if they beat Aston Villa on Wednesday. Liverpool's first defeat in 5 games in all competitions will raise fresh questions about Slot's Anfield future. This was the first of Liverpool's 2 trips in Molineux in the space of 4 days, with an immediate chance for revenge in the FA Cup 5th round on Friday. And just before we go, here again are the top stories. Cooking gas soars. Petrol hits 975 naira per litre in Lagos and 975 naira in Abuja as Middle East crisis takes toll. U.S. Embassy in Abuja cancels visa appointment for March 4 over protest fears. Electricity customers to get 20 billion naira meter cost refunds from discos. Ondo government orders crackdown on kidnappers. Outside Nigeria, U.S. and Ecuador forces launch operation to fight drug trafficking. And Sport Wolves shock Liverpool with last gasp win. And that's the world news at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of FM. And do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.